I was a physical therapist assistant and I did love my job, but I was just exhausted and I wasn't making very much for the amount of work that I was putting in. I wanted to work from home and yeah, just have a flexible schedule.
You know, they always say like the top 1% of Etsy shops, those are the shops that are making the money. Sounds, oh, that's so hard to be in the top 1%, but it's actually not, because so many people are just not going to put that time and effort. You stuck with this month after month, not making money. That's just not typically what someone's going to do, especially if they're not feeding themselves with content like this and understanding, oh, this was other people's journeys too.
Like having that mindset going into it and being okay with working for free for, who knows, even a year. Some people, it might take a year before you start seeing traction in your shop. But once you do, that's where the magic happens. It's so cool to see it grow. Everybody asks, what's the secret? What's the secret? There's no secret. The only thing that I would say is staying consistent and putting in the work. There's no like, I'm really good at print on demand or something. Like, I didn't know anything about this at all.
Ariel, we're super excited to have you on the channel today. Thank you for coming to chat with me.
Hi, Shauna.
So you just had your first $10,000 profit month on Etsy.
I know, I'm so excited. Thank you, Shauna, for having me. I really appreciate you. And for everybody who's watching, I've been following your channel since I first started. It's funny because I think you started your YouTube channel around the same time that I decided to do this. So you were one of the first people that I followed all the way through. Yay! And yeah, your advice is amazing. And yeah, I was able to find success just in about 2 years. I mean, before 2 years, but it's been about a little over 2 years and that's where I'm at now. So I'm so excited.
So $10,000 in a single month is so much more than the typical person, definitely, that I made in my regular full-time job. And it's during, we're filming this during very early September. What is today? Like September 2nd. And you are making that kind of money over the summer, which is typically a time where we think of Etsy not being, kind of being in a slump. So, and today we're going to go to chat a little bit about the niches that Ariel is in that have helped her with that, her journey, her origin story. And then we'll loop back at the end because Ariel actually started her own YouTube channel recently. I know I watched the first 2 videos. Are you 2 videos in so far?
I have 3. I have a 3rd one out.
Yeah, I've got to go watch the 3rd one, every single video. I literally, because you tell your story and I love origin stories. I love the whole process story. And so your first YouTube video is just that. And I was sitting on the, even though I've talked to you numerous times, I was sitting on the edge of my seat as you unfolded all of those details. So super excited to have you today.
Yeah, those were my favorite stories too. When you would do interviews or Cassiy did interviews with people, that's what motivated me the most. Like learning all the little details, of course, that's important. But what really kept me going is things like this. So my channel does focus more on like just mindset tips and my story and my numbers just to like inspire people. I think I will go over some of the like tips and tricks and like how to make designs, things like that. But yeah, it's mostly going to be stuff that's motivational. So
yeah. I think that's very natural in the beginning. You're sharing your story and it's definitely the same with me. Like it was like, oh, if this girl could do this, she's pretty normal. I could do it too, right? Like, and we're both really normal girls. Like I was a school teacher and, we had very normal jobs prior to quitting to go full-time Etsy. So let's get into that with you. Like, what was it first that brought you to Etsy? Like what got your attention with Etsy and made you open a shop?
So my job, I was a physical therapist assistant and I did love my job. I helped people and, treated patients with injuries, but it was just a really taxing job. So I was, there from 8 to 5, sometimes later. And then I had a really long drive, things like that. And I was just exhausted and I wasn't making very much for the amount of work that I was putting in. And I didn't have free time. So like all the things that people want when they want to open their own business, usually it's like you want your own free time. I wanted to work from home and yeah, just have a flexible schedule. So I started looking on, I think it was TikTok, and I came across a TikTok and someone was showing a print on demand t-shirt and they're like, I made this and I made thousands of dollars and I didn't even have to print or ship any of my stuff. And I was like, what? This has to be fake. But then I started looking more into it and I YouTubed it. I was like, what's print on demand? And Cassiy was one of the first ones that came up. And then I found you and I was like, oh my gosh, they seem really genuine. And you were breaking down the steps. I was like, this actually does seem possible. So I literally just followed the steps and took it day by day. And I was like, I'm not going to give up because your story was so inspiring. And the fact that you were honest, that's what I really appreciate about your channel is you're really honest with your viewers that like it took you 8-9 months before you saw any money coming in. Like you were making, you said pennies per hour.
Yeah.
So
I was constantly with the calculator. Okay, I made $600, but I'm 5 months in. I've done about this many hours. Oh, 2 pennies an hour. Okay, another penny.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, no, but that really inspired me and kept me going because I think a lot of people want to see success within like a month or so or whatever. And that's just not necessarily realistic. So I felt like your videos really helped me stay like realistic about things. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stick to this for a year. I'm gonna hit a certain listing goal, and that's when I'll like reassess and decide like, is this for me? That's
That
what I
is
did.
very similar to me. I had it in my head. Okay, 1 year, and I was trying for 2,000 listings, so which
Oh
was
yeah.
a huge number, but that was kind of like I was listening to the Life Hacker Couple at the time. Have you ever listened to the Life Hacker Couple?
I haven't. I think I've seen maybe 1 or 2 videos a long time ago, but I don't like follow them or anything. They're not on YouTube anymore,
I
right?
don't think they're on YouTube anymore, but they were the
Okay.
first channel I found, and Cassiy was learning under them also, which is how I found her. She did an interview with them, and of course, I was like, I must have listened to that interview like 25 times because I would like hear something else, like, oh, this is normal. She did, she had this happen to her too because she was like 6 months ahead of me in her journey, and so it was
Yeah.
so fun to listen to that and see what might be possible. So for anyone that is listening to this interview right now that is not familiar, Ariel just kind of went into it. We got ourselves by watching a video kind of like this. We got ourselves into this new business. We were like totally 9-to-5ers to physical therapy, right? Very fixed incomes with this. For me, it was like I wasn't going to make any more money teaching no matter how long I did it. And then it was like, okay, well, how can I make more money? How can I make more money? And I had no idea about the world of entrepreneurship. And we stumbled across this business model. We're using the platform of Etsy to sell print on demand items. You think of like, oh, well, I'm going to sell on Etsy, which is a marketplace where you could buy things. People search things into the search bar, and a lot of people buy gifts here, and people do a lot of handmade things here. So I originally was going to sell farmhouse mirrors because I was redoing my house and I was looking for farmhouse mirrors for myself. And I made them myself instead of buying them because they were too expensive. But that's how I came across, oh, print on demand. I can go on vacation. I can travel. I don't have to worry about orders coming in. This other company prints the item, puts the item inside an envelope, packages it up, does the shipping, takes it to the post office and ships it. And all I have to do is actually design listings. I never touch the items. You superimpose your design on top of your print on demand product, which you could buy. We call these mock-up photos. We could buy them right off Etsy is where I get mine. And then you list that in your shop. And it's amazing. And then you can scale this. Someone might wonder, well, how are you going to sell t-shirts and make $10,000 profit in 1 month like Ariel's done? But that's because this business model works on scaling, and it's super possible. But as a teacher, that was so beyond my realm of understanding. But right, like you have to listen to a video like this, we're like, really, this is a thing? So anyone who's just now listening, we hope that we change your lives today.
Oh yeah, definitely. And the main like takeaway that I want people to understand is this is a long-term business. It's not like a get rich quick scheme. And so it does take effort, it does take work. You've talked about that on your channel a billion times. But having that mindset going into it and being okay with working for free for who knows, even a year. Some people it might take a year before you start seeing traction in your shop. But once you do, that's where the magic happens. It's so cool to see it grow. And I just think all the time, like if I would have given up like 2-3 months in, even 6 months in, I wouldn't have seen the success that I am seeing right now with this $10,000 profit month. It's 2.5 years in, and I've been putting in the same amount of work since the beginning. I've been treating it like a real job. It's not like you can just put up a few shirts and you're just going to get rich somehow. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I had someone comment on a video the other day and they said, oh, so you mean this is never going to become really passive? Like I'm always going to have to work on this. And I was like, man, that's too bad that there is that mentality of, you know, so many people also think, oh, it's saturated. I'm never going to be able to get in. But so many people have the mentality of, oh, I'm looking for something to do quick and make a ton of money. Hey, good
Yeah.
luck to anyone who thinks that they can find something like that. Let us know in the comments what it is you're doing. It's just not likely.
Yeah. Even businesses where they say they're passive, they're never like 100% passive. And I mean, print on demand is passive down the line, but it's not completely. And I think it's so cool every time I see a shirt that I sold today that I made in the beginning. It's so cool because I'm like, oh, that was my previous work. So that is technically passive. But if I want to keep building it and growing it even more, I can't rely just off of my past work. Like I have to put in some work to keep it going, keep the momentum going. But yeah.
And you know, it's like, and you mentioned being willing to work maybe for a year or for free, but if you're not willing to do that, then the other choice is having a job that they pay you for your hours, but then that's it, that you'll only ever be paid for your hours. When you're an entrepreneur, you have to put in the elbow grease, the work first to scale later. And scaling is where you said that's where the magic happens. It's where you spend money.
Exactly.
So I guess you were thinking, oh, how can I make some extra money?
Mm-hmm.
How can I have more free time? And I guess you went on YouTube and you were like researching this, right? And I guess you came across these videos about, you know, you saw Cassiy's video and you saw, wow, this is possible. And that sent you down this entire journey. How long would you say it took you to get your first sale after you opened your shop? And how many listings did it take you?
My first sale was from my mom. So I'm not going to count that. So that was like the first week I put out a shirt. But my first organic sale, I think, was 3 months, maybe even 4 months in. And then even after that, I didn't see another organic sale for a few weeks. So you know how it is, it trickles in. I think I had around 50 to 60 listings at the point where I made my first organic sale. And I think also what helped me too, if some people aren't seeing their first organic sale within the first few months, it could be because you don't have any sales at all. I was lucky enough to have friends and family purchasing from me. So I had my mom, my sister, my best friend, you know, my husband. I had people buying from me. So I had a handful of sales and reviews. So I think that kind of kickstarted it for me in the algorithm to where I could get my first sale in 3 months. But don't be discouraged if you don't get your first sale for a little bit longer than that. Like you just never know. It depends on the type of listings that you're putting up, the quality, and then if you have any backing. So it might take a little bit longer if you don't have any reviews or any sales. Like people don't really want to buy from someone who's brand new. So it just might take a little bit longer, at least in my opinion.
No, absolutely. And I love that because I get this question all the time. You know, is this normal? I've been at this for 3 months, or I've been at this for 4 months. I haven't gotten a sale. In my journey, I did get a sale the first month, but I was at around almost 50 listings that very first month. So it also has to do with the quality of listings and the rate at which you're listing, because I was making things for that season right then. 3 months later, if you've only got 50 or 60 listings, how many of those listings are for that season right then? And how many were for 3 months ago? You know, like
that's a very good point. Yeah. It's funny because my first listing, I opened my shop in February, and I think St. Patrick's Day was in 2 weeks. I was like, I'm going to make a St. Patrick's Day shirt, and I'm going to get a ton of sales on it. It was like 2 weeks before. And I was like, oh, that's not even enough time. Now that I know, I'm like, that's not even enough time to like ship it by like the date that I like listed it. So I was like putting up all these St. Patrick's Day designs, and it was a waste of time, honestly.
Well, you know what I find is a running theme with people that have gotten themselves successful with this is their ability to focus on the hope. On the hope that it's going to work. Oh, I'm going to list this. It's going to be great. And then to continually, they say fail forward, like, or fail forward. Like, okay, well, this didn't work out like I thought. I was hopeful. I thought it was going to work, but now I understand this piece. And so now I'll make a smarter decision and fail a little more forward next time until I get it working. Okay, so it took you around 50 to 60 listings and around 3 to 4, almost 5 months to even just get that first sale. And I hear all the time, oh, the first sale is the hardest, and it was hard. For me, I felt like the second sale was even harder because you feel like the floodgates are supposed to open.
Yeah. I agree. I was like, oh, my first sale. This is great. Now I'm just going to get a bunch of sales. No, that's not how it works. Yeah. It took a few weeks to get the second one, and then the third one. Like, it was weeks in between just getting one sale at a time. I don't think I started seeing daily sales until maybe 6 months in. And when I mean daily sales, it's like I was getting one sale a day, maybe two. And then there were, like, of course, a few days where it's like 0 sales, but it really was a slow build.
So I think that's a rather quick build though from your first sale. And I think that's really encouraging from your first sale to the time, that's like 4 months in to kind of averaging out daily sales. And just so everyone understands what Ariel was just explaining was when we say daily sales, we're not saying, oh, look, I'm getting a cha-ching every day. It's averaging out to that. So I know for me, when I first started getting daily sales, I remember the first month, I had one day where I got 6 cha-chings. That was like, you wouldn't. You needed to tie me down and tether me to the ground because I was floating with happiness. I was kind of like floating to the sky. I was beyond happy. Then of course that was followed by like 4 or 5 days of absolutely no sales.
Right. It's really like it plays on your emotions. If you're not used to sales, which I'm not, like you weren't either. If we were in a 9 to 5, Cassiy said that she was used to the fluctuations. I was not used to it. So I'd be like crying in tears. I'm like, I'm going to be rich. Like you said, making 6, 10 sales a day. I was like, oh my gosh, this is happening. And then to go like a few days or even a week with like no sales, it like almost hurts your ego, and you can't take it personally. It's just how sales work.
Yep, 100%. I think that was relatively quick to average a sale a day, but just so everyone understands, it doesn't mean Ariel was getting a sale every single day, but it was averaging to that. So some days it might have been 2, or maybe there was even a crazy day like I had with 6, and there was a couple days with the none, and then there was 1, and then there was a couple days with the none, and then maybe there was 3. When would you say you really started getting more like truly daily sales? Like one day, maybe it's 1 or 2 today, and maybe it's 7 or 8 another day. Like when was there a switch where you're like, I made some money this week. Like I'm actually getting, or this month, I'm actually getting some traction now. Was there a month where you're like, yeah, like this was a big bump?
Definitely. So I started my shop in February, and I think it was October-ish that I was seeing almost daily sales. I think that was like close to 6 months in. I don't know my math. When I started seeing daily sales where I had no in between where I wasn't making sales, it was actually November and December because it was Q4. And I actually put out some personalized stuff. I was so scared to put out personalized listings, but one of them just took off, and it was selling every day. So I was really excited about that.
One of the reasons why you were worried about doing the personalized ones, I know for me, and maybe you had the same experience. I was so worried, like, I'm batching designs, I'm putting a lot of designs out, and if I did 100 personalized or 30 personalized or whatever the number is, was it in your mind like, what if all of these take off? And then
Yeah, that was one of my fears. And another fear is I didn't even know how to fulfill it at that point, and I couldn't really find any videos at that time of like how to fulfill it. I was like, oh my gosh, what if I get a bunch of sales and then I don't even know how to fulfill these orders? Or what if it takes too long and I don't get them out in time? Like there's all these like what ifs, but none of that really even happens. And if it does, like say something really takes off, you can always up your price and it'll slow down the sales. Like that's not a bad thing to be making more money.
Yep.
So you want that. And I think it might've been one of your videos where you were talking about it. And I was like, I need to just have a mind shift on my perspective on this. And this whole business is really it's a mental game, 100%. And everybody doubts themselves or they worry about the what ifs. And I tend to be a worrywart, honestly. But I was like, you know what? She has some really good points. I have to take the leap and I have to just try, and it worked out. So
I tend to err on the side of not worrying. Like if you're familiar with the No Friend Left Behind channel, Shay and Laneta will be traveling together. And Laneta's like, Shauna, did you lock the doors? I'm like, oh no, I don't think the doors are locked. And she's like, oh my gosh, the doors have to be locked. And I'm always, butterflies and rainbows, it'll all be fine. And then Cassiy Johnson, I think, is even more so than me. Cassiy Johnson, I'll leave her links down in the description. Another very successful Etsy seller that's on YouTube that I have learned with as well. And I know you've learned with as well also. But she's very like, oh, it'll be fine. It's all going to be fine. And so I think there is a certain amount of that you kind of have to embrace when you're building a business. Because it's like, yes, these are all things we worried about. Oh my gosh, personalization. Am I going to be able to figure out how to fulfill it? What if they all start selling? First of all, I think we can almost 99% guarantee everybody that it's a lovely idea that all of your personalized stuff will suddenly start selling and you'll be a millionaire overnight, but it's not happening like that.
Yep. Yep.
You will be lucky to get one of them out there, and you'll be so thankful that you put 50 of them out there just to get that one selling. So it's just
Exactly. Exactly. One thing that like I was thinking too that helped me finally put out personalized listings is, would you rather be spending a bunch of time putting out non-personalized listings that might not be selling, or would you rather put out the personalized listings and be fulfilling the orders and making money? I was like, that's a no-brainer to me.
Yep, I think that is such a good, so it's like worst case scenario for anyone that's on the fence, just do it. And you can always decide to turn them off and take them out of your shop. If you hate making money with your you could just turn them off and then, go back to like, no, I'm going to try to do this without personalization, right? You can always go the other way again, right? So it took you around 8-9 months. It was like November, December where you started making those sales. You opened in February, November, December, you actually made yourself some money. Do you remember how much you made during that November and December?
I think it was December that I made my first $15,000 revenue month. I can't remember the numbers in November. It might have been around 10,000. And I was so excited because revenue at that point was only a couple thousand in revenue per month. So it was a big jump. It was really exciting.
So revenue, just for everyone listening, revenue is like before we pay for our product and all of that, that's the revenue numbers. And then the profit numbers after you pay your print-on-demand partner that's printing all your items up and any Etsy fees associated is what you get to keep. And typically it's somewhere around 25%. At least it is for me, 25 to 30%. So it's really fun. I remember my first $2,000 month. I went from pennies per hour to a $2,000 profit month. But that was how fast it moved. And for me, it happened to be during the teaching season. And then for you, it happened to be during the holiday season. And then you just said something else interesting, that you made more in December than you did in November.
Yeah, which is interesting to me because usually November, now that I've been on Etsy a couple years, November is usually higher than December because of like Black Friday and everything. So I can't remember. Maybe I put out that personalized listing in November and then that's what took off in December. I think that's probably what happened.
Same for me. I made more that first year I was scaling. I made more in December than I did in November. I think it was partly because I know I put something out during Black Friday that did really well, but also you're new to the game. You're having to put elbow grease that first holiday season because you've got everyone else that sold from the year before, they're getting seen well before you. So you're having to wait until the height of the shoppers being there. So you're more likely to do better in December that first year, but it's quite typical after that. Your November will be bigger than your December. That's pretty typical. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's exactly what happened to me.
And I think as I've been working with people and stuff, I'm hearing that story more and more often. Okay. So when did you quit your job?
So I quit my job about 2 years in. So I started in 2023 and then I quit my job this year. So I started in February of 2023 and I quit in January of 2025. So pretty quickly, if you ask me, to start something brand new and a business, like what business can you do that makes you money within the first couple of years? Like all the business books that I read, most businesses don't even start to make a profit until like 5 years or they just fail. So this business model, I'm just like, it's amazing. It's really amazing. I'm just like blown away by it.
I could not agree with you more. And I had the same kind of trajectory. I quit my teaching job around the same amount of time in. And it was just like, to me, what was so profound about that is that we didn't have to go back to school to get this other degree, to build this other thing. It was literally YouTube University that we learned how to do this whole other type of skill, this whole other type of way to make money, and it's scalable income. So it's makes you feel like shouting it from the rooftops to tell people like, oh my gosh, didn't you guys, like, you guys got to know about this. This is something so special and so amazing.
I think about what you say, how you're like, I could give myself like double raise each year, triple the raise. Like, it's just crazy. Whereas normal jobs, you might get a 2% raise or something and it doesn't make that much of a difference, or like you don't even get a raise. And you could literally double. Like you could make 40,000 one year and then the next year you're making 80,000. And then for you, it was like 160,000 profit. Like that is, you can't get that in any other just like 9 to 5 job.
No,
I mean,
that doesn't exist in
no.
somewhere where you're trading your time for money and they hire you and they say, we're going to pay you this much per hour. You will not scale like that. That's impossible.
Yeah.
Like, this is just so incredible.
I agree.
And so repeatable for anyone willing to like just stick to it long enough to learn how to do it and to get enough listings out there to scale.
Everybody asks, what's the secret? What's the secret? There's no secret. The only thing that I would say is staying consistent and putting in the work and like doing the right things to get to your goals. But there's no like, I'm really good at print on demand or something. Like, I didn't know anything about this at all.
You know, they always say like the top 1% of Etsy shops, those are the shops that are making the money, but it sounds, oh, that's so hard to be in the top 1%, but it's actually not, because so many people are just not going to put that time and effort. You stuck with this month after month, not making money. That's just not typically what someone's going to do, especially if they're not feeding themselves with content like this and understanding, oh, this was other people's journeys too. It doesn't work after 3 months. It doesn't work after 60 listings. Like, it takes more than that. Were there any times in your journey over the last 2 years where you had like, because you start to scale, right? You start to see, oh, these are daily sales. All right, you know, like I'm kind of getting these daily sales. Oh, wow, now I'm getting like actually making $2,000 of profit a month. Were there any times where you had dips where you thought, oh wait, I thought it was working, and now I'm like, oh no, is it not working? Like, was there any times where you were feeling like, oh no, is this not going to work?
Once I hit that point where I was making daily sales, there were months that I made less money than others, but I never felt like I wasn't going to be able to make it, which was really cool. Because I mean, there would be some months, like I think the first January, I made like maybe $1,000 in profit. I'll have to go back and look at my numbers, because coming from December, it was like a few thousand, and then like I came to January, and you definitely see a dip. Well, I wasn't preparing for January because I was just so excited about the Q4 and just learning everything. But yeah, exactly. I did see a dip, but it wasn't like zero sales. But also, this is a whole nother topic, but also it's because I had evergreen niches in my shop that were carrying me through. So that's another important part of this business. I wasn't just doing all holiday stuff, because I have heard that happening, which I listened to tons of videos and I was like, that's not happening to me. I'm going to have evergreen in my shop. So at least if I have a dip, it's not going to be zero. I'll be making at least something. So yeah, I don't know if that answered your question.
No, it did. You brushed on niches. Let's talk about niches for a second. So I know people are probably wondering, well, how did she do so well in the month of July when it's known to be a slump? Do you want to talk a little bit about the niche that you were working in over the summer that was really profitable for you?
Oh yeah, your favorite niche. Yeah, the teacher niche. I just can't believe that like during the summer you can make that much money. I made more money in July than I did December. So, which is Q4, because you're like, Q4, you're going to make so much money. But I was preparing heavily for the teacher niche. I put out listings in that niche for all the holidays. I put listings out for all of their like appreciation days, things like that, grade levels, personalized teacher stuff. I went really hard. So actually I started seeing sales in the teacher niche my very first summer, like just a couple group listings that I got sales on my very first year. I was like, oh, this is cool. So then I started building upon that. By the time it came around the next year, I had so much in my shop that it just blew up. It was crazy. That's a really important thing to realize, is in the beginning, you are testing out a bunch of different niches to see like what you start to see some sales in. I happened to see some sales in the teacher niche somewhat early on. It wasn't a lot, but I saw the power of a group listing. I was like, oh, that's really cool. So it made me want to keep going in that niche. And I stayed in that niche all throughout the year. I didn't stray from it. So it paid off.
I think that is such a good point. I think what happens a lot of times is people will do a pass at something and then they'll go, oh, well, this didn't work. Like, and then they'll just drop it and do something else. But like, really hear what Ariel said. She saw, okay, she had some sales, like, okay, this is fun. It was not ground shattering or whatever, earth breaking sales, but she kept with it. By the following summer, it exploded. This is important. So for everyone that did a dig or that did a pass this past summer and made a couple of sales, you already laid groundwork. Like you got to keep up with it.
Yeah, don't stop. If you started in the teacher niche and you even just saw one sale, like keep going. Because I mean, my first year, I only saw a handful of sales, and that was enough for me to be like, this is a fun niche. I'm going to stay in it. And yeah, so it paid off.
I have a resource that I've built out as a teacher resource specifically if anyone's interested in getting in the teacher niche and you're like, oh, I don't even know what I would list for other than a holiday or back to school. I have it all built out, and you can pick it up. I'll leave it in the description.
It really, really helped me. I didn't see it until this past year, but it was right before summer hit. And there was a lot of things on there that I didn't even know. I was like, this is coming from a teacher. She knows. So I actually started expanding into other positions, not just teachers, like office staff. And you have a whole list of other resources. So I was like, you know what? I'm seeing sales on teachers. I'm going to expand a little bit into these other school categories. And yeah, that really helped me too. So thank you, Shauna. Really helped.
I'm glad it helped. But yeah, it's really a school niche, I guess I should call it, not just teacher, but obviously a focus on teacher because there's so many teachers in a school, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a fun niche. And that was one of the first niches, obviously, because I'm a teacher, it was interesting to me. I would hear people talking about it in videos, and I was like, well, if I'm a teacher and these people that aren't even teachers are making sales in the teacher niche, well, gosh darn it, I want a piece of that. And so I just stuck with it. And then it was like, holy cow, because that was what gave me my start over the summer. My first profitable month was January, and that was $2,500 profit, which bumped up to $4,500 profit the following month.
Yeah.
It was teacher stuff.
That's amazing.
So yeah, so you're going to continue. So you had a $10,000 month profit in July, a little bit less in August, but still a great month.
Oh yeah.
And then you're probably still getting trickles of those teacher sales. I usually will get them around till mid-September. Then they'll start to really fade away.
Yeah. They're starting to die down quite a bit.
Yeah,
but those 2 months are huge during the summer because of the back to school. And I want to start preparing even more now that I have your calendar, because there's certain times throughout the year that it'll also spike. I just happen to be in the back to school, but there's the first day of school. I made a little bit in that, but I think I need to double down more on that, and all the appreciation days. Literally your niche calendar, people who are in the teacher niche, you need to buy it. It is amazing. It's like 100% going to pay off. Like, oh, it's great. But yeah, I'm like, this is perfect because I'm in the teacher niche. So
yeah, a very profitable niche. And then, there's just so many little, like the 100th day of school or reading month. There's just so many little things that you can make meaningful progress in that niche over time. Now, you said that you're in several evergreen niches that you're making sure you are feeding throughout the year. Teacher can be one of those niches, but obviously even in an evergreen niche, you've got certain spikes in that evergreen niche. So, and it's also important to round your shop out. So with a thing like teacher, you can help round your shop out during the summer when you've usually got a slump happening, or very mindfully when you're building your shop to make sure you're rounding out you've got your holiday stuff, but you've also got your evergreen stuff, and your evergreen stuff should make meaningful progress in your holiday stuff. You're in the teacher niche, you want to be making holiday teacher stuff also, right? So you've been mindful to make sure you've got a couple of evergreen niches. How many niches would you say you kind of consistently listen?
Call me crazy. I kind of dream big. I'm in like 3 to 5 of the biggest niches out there. So I'm in professions. I'm in mom and grandma, teacher, obviously. Oh, and bachelorette. So like bridal, bachelorette. I wouldn't really recommend doing what I'm doing, trying to keep up with all of those. What I try to do is feed those niches during times of the year that I know that they're going to be more profitable for me. I am in like 3 to 5 of the biggest niches, but I also niche down in all of those. So I'm not just doing like a mama shirt. If I do, it's like personalized in some way, or I'm niching down with like the grandma name, or I'm doing like mommy and me. Like I'm doing very specific things that are like not as broad, but they're under like that big niche of like mom. But yeah, I feed certain niches during certain times of year that they're going to sell the best. So like, for example, I was heavily focusing on mom and grandma a few months before Mother's Day. And then it paid off for me. And then I was working on, I think, Bachelorette in the beginning of the year because people get engaged. And so, I mean, that's a good niche all throughout the year. But there are spikes. So I try to pay attention to the spikes and then work on those a few months before the spikes happen. So it's not like I'm every day I have to add to all 5 of these niches. That's just like not possible. That's my
I think that that was such a good insight that you just shared very eloquently. Like, because my strategy has been very much the same. So 3 to 5 niches. And this is the thing. So many people are afraid to get into the big niches. They're great niches to be in. And not to say that I mean, I'm in some smaller niches too, just hobbies that I like. So I've made stuff and they make me some nice sales, but the majority of my money, if you want $160,000 profit in a 1 year, you're probably going to have to put the elbow grease into those bigger niches. But like you said, niching down within them and mindfully adding to them throughout different times of the year where you know that you're spiking. For anyone who's listening, you're like, well, how do I know when that is? I also have a general niche calendar. Johnson also has one. I remember picking hers up when I was going into this. I'll leave mine linked, but even if you don't pick up mine, that is probably the first tool over a membership, over like any other tool. I would say having a calendar of like someone who knew how to do the research and can understand, like, yeah, list Bachelorette stuff now, list, you know, 100th day of school stuff now, list mama stuff now. And this is how you could niche down within mama. Having a resource like that is probably one of the biggest gifts you could give yourself.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I had Cassie's niche calendar in the very beginning, and then as soon as you dropped your niche calendars, I bought both. I bought the teacher and the regular. I was like, even if it's similar to Cassie's, it's still fun to compare. And there were some like differences, but there was also some similarities. I was like, okay, this is good. This is telling me that I'm on the right track. And then I would pull from yours or pull from hers depending on like what niches I was in. So
and if you see a similarity, you're probably like, oh, this definitely needs to be something I'm working on.
Oh yeah, I'm like, they both are saying this is going to make me money. Heck yeah, I'm going to really double down on this.
Yeah,
exactly. So I 100% agree. If you're going to pay for anything, it would be a niche calendar. And it's only like $30 or something. I don't know how much you have. Yeah. They're never like super expensive. You're not investing a bunch of money. It's
like literally 5 or 6 shirts. If you get an idea from one of those calendars, 5 or 6 shirts will have paid you back in that amount of profit. If you $5 per shirt, $5 to $10 per shirt, you've paid yourself back.
And another thing that this makes me think of is I tend to not be afraid of losing money necessarily or investing money. And I feel like a lot of people that don't have a business mindset, I mean, I'm not a business person at all, but I wasn't really afraid to make investments like that, little things here and there, little programs that were going to help me. I paid for Cassie's course and I paid for your course. Like, I knew in my heart that those were going to help me have success sooner. And I wasn't afraid to invest the upfront money. I had to put it on credit cards. I mean, not everybody has that option, but if you do, like it paid itself off and I knew it. I put in the work and I wasn't afraid to lose money in the beginning because I knew it was going to make me money long term. So yeah.
As I got more, because I'm so not a business person either, and then as I got more into this journey and started listening to content surrounding business and productivity and all of that, someone said it really well and now I'm like addicted to buying things that help me. They said, how much does it cost you not to invest in yourself? Like, how much does it cost you not? Because if you are able to now have a return on your investment of time 6 months before, and all of those 6 months that resource helped you get faster success, how much money did you make in that amount of time? You spent $40 on a resource or whatever it is, but then how much more money did you make that much sooner in your journey? Not to mention that the thing I was most worried about losing was my time. This business really doesn't have a lot of upfront money that you need to invest into it, but you know, the worry is that am I wasting my time? Am I wasting my time? I know that was constantly in my head.
Go into it feeling like that's going to be the case. It's going to feel like you're wasting your time, but it's not. It's an investment of your time.
I love that.
Definitely like a huge worry about. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that.
So I feel like something people are going to wonder about as they're listening to this video is, what role did ads play into your journey? When did you start playing with them? Do you use them now?
It's funny, I followed your advice on ads actually. So I remember early on you talked about ads and you said don't invest in ads until you have seen a little bit of traction, and then you can put ads on the listings that are getting traction to fuel the fire, and then at least you have a direction and you have an idea of like what designs sell. If you just throw ads on stuff in the beginning, you're probably going to waste your money, honestly. I think so, at least, unless you're like a really good designer and you're good at this already, but that's not usually the case. So I actually started ads, I think it was around Christmas time or like Q4, because I started to see some sales come in like consistently for those. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do what Shauna said. I think I only invested like $3 to $5 a day. And I really do think that helped. I was seeing more sales on the listings that I had put ads on. And then as I got more confident over time, I upped my budget slowly and on listings that I thought had a really good chance of doing well.
Because the last thing we want is everyone losing money on their ads. You get a lot of great data from the ads, but when you're brand new, I had no business putting ads on my stuff when I was brand new, because my stuff really sucked. And so
Mine too.
no business, putting ads on that. And I did play with it also. And I lost money, even though I made 2 or 3 sales on this ugly little mug that I had put in my shop. But, I didn't know what I was doing. So I turned the ads off and didn't start again until later and realized like, okay, this is what we need to be doing. Plus, you can always turn ads off that aren't working. And then as people start spending money on another ad, don't get emotionally invested into ads, right? So,
oh gosh.
Otherwise, you're just losing money. You're like, get emotionally invested and fall in love with the process of learning how to make designs people want to buy. That's what we need to obsess over.
Mm-hmm.
Not, oh my God, well, the ad is going to help me sell this.
No, yeah, exactly. The other way around. Yeah. No, but I agree though, with ads, you really have to be careful too. Shauna has a bunch of videos on ads. You could probably like link these videos that I'm talking about, because I'm basically just going to repeat everything that you've taught me. But like what I have learned is that with ads, you have to babysit your ads. And you have to be looking at the numbers. You have to be turning off keywords that aren't working, unless you just have like a ton of money that you can just invest and not worry about that kind of thing. But I mean, that was not my case. I actually was losing money on ads in the month of Q4 because I was trying to do break-even pricing and ads. And then I was like, oh, shoot, that was stupid. I'm losing money now. I'm literally in the red. Like, what am I doing? Because I was trying all these different strategies. I was like, oh, that's a great strategy. I'm going to do break-even pricing. Oh, that's a great strategy with ads. But in my mind, I didn't like put the 2 and 2 together that like, you're going to lose money if you do that. So then I started calculating. I was like, oh, I better up my prices, and then I better like actually be watching and babysitting my ads, because it can be really tricky.
Yeah, especially during Q4 when all those shoppers are coming in. Ads can get out of control really quick at that time.
Oh yeah, I try to do it every other day, and then that did not happen. It was like once a week if I was lucky that I was checking on my ads. I was just trying to get all my orders out and make sure everything was good. It was a lot for first starting.
When you do your designs, do you batch your designs, or can you tell us a little bit about your process with designing?
I basically do what you and Cassiy teach. I definitely batch my designs. Actually, I did that more in the beginning, because you want to have, like you said, 8 to 15 designs in one niche. So when that customer comes to shop for that niche, they are going to have options of different like design styles. Like if they see, oh, they have a teacher shirt, I don't really like that style. Oh, but they have one that I like, then they might purchase that. So it's good to have like at least 10 to 15 designs in each niche as you're going along. But now that I have a much more in each niche, my strategy is actually finding a design style that works really, really well for me, and then just scaling that design style out in all of the niches that I'm in.
That's definitely an advanced move. We would probably suggest you only do that once you like have learned and just tested so many different designs and you actually become really good at that.
Yeah,
I use that strategy now too. Yeah.
Yeah, that is not a beginner thing. I tried doing the scalable designs in the very beginning, and like maybe some of them would hit randomly, but it just was not a good strategy at all. It's good to, stick in one niche, give it good stabs, like you say, with different design styles, trending design styles, find out which design style worked best for you. And then once you start seeing quite a few sales, then you could probably scale that out. But yeah, that's not till later on. But that's what I do now. I just scale it out, and I do like a quick search in the niche to make sure that like that trending style isn't already in that niche. And if it is, then I'll just skip that one. But yeah, I'll just try to put in as many as I can that don't have that design style already in that niche, if that makes sense.
For anyone listening, if you're wondering, well, how do they know the trends? Really, it's not that hard. You just go on Etsy and you look every day at niches that you're in, and new things will start popping up to you. And then if you have Everbee, it'll actually show you what's 1 month old. And I usually focus on those things. Ariel, would you say the same thing? Do you focus on?
I have a little confession. I don't hardly ever do any of my own trend like research because I have you and Cassiy putting out trend reports, and it has worked for me the entire time. I know how to search for trends on my own. I've done it before. So if like you guys stopped putting out trend reports, I would know how to do it myself. But no, I'm like, they saved me so much time. I'm just going to watch their trend report and take action on it. So that's what I do.
I love that. That is super smart on using your time and making sure that you're using your time for designing rather than the trends. So yes, or you could get yourself a nice subscription to a trend report. Join a membership where they're putting out a trend report, and that way you have access to the trends. And
your trend reports are amazing, honestly, because you not only give us the trends, but you tell us, okay, this is your challenge for this week to take action on these trends, and like it gives us goals and structure on moving forward with it and actually taking action instead of just giving us a trend report and be like, okay, go ahead, do your own thing. You kind of baby us, which is good. I think a lot of people need that. A lot of people do, because
my teacher background. My teacher background, like,
no, I love it. Anyone watching, if you have the money, invest in her course. It is amazing. You go like above and beyond. There's so many things, so many activities. Like, oh, it's great. Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. So thank you.
And I can't say what it is, but I just came across a new trend that I cannot wait to share. So I'm sorry I'm saying this on YouTube, because YouTube people are like, come on, tell us. But I've got to say, like, I have to hold on to these things till the trend reports are released, because it's like kind of a fun day in the membership to like release the trend report. I was like, yay, it's like Christmas today. But I can't wait to reveal this one. It's such a good
I'm excited. I wonder if I've seen it yet.
So like mid-September it'll be out. I'm
going to be like guessing.
Yeah, make your list of guesses. Like, what could it be as you're like looking at stuff?
I know. I'm excited. Yeah, and it's interesting as I'm like going through my niches, just because I have to go through my niches to see what styles have not been put into it. So I do some market research. I don't just use the trend reports, but that's probably the only reason I go on Etsy, is just to make sure I'm not like putting out something that's already out there and that's not going to really do anything. Looking through Etsy every day, like, you will start to see new trends pop up. Your brain is just like, I don't know, you have like t-shirt vision or like trend vision. It's so interesting, like how our brains like learn all of this.
It's so funny. I was at the beach the other day, and there's all these shops on the beach that you can window shop in. So, and they've always got the fun. I don't know if every beach is like that, but the beaches in my area, they've always got funny shirts, a lot of inappropriate ones, and funny shirts like in the windows. Tons of them, like shop after shop with this. And I came across this one shop with this particular design, and they had this design scaled out. It was like all black letters, and these 2 red lines were basically the design with the phrase that said, "My favorite pastime is volleyball." I'm saying it dumb, but there is a cuter phrase in that where it was like, basically, my favorite is this. And then it had an ending part that was funny. All of the designs were exactly the same, except for my favorite, whatever it was. Don't you know, this week as I'm doing research, I come across the same exact design that people are using on Etsy, and it's bestseller after bestseller, and these different words that are being popped in. One of those examples of scaling out a design and just putting different words for different niches. Yeah.
I see that all the time, like grocery shopping, at the gym, everywhere I go. If I see someone wearing like a graphic t-shirt, I either notice like if it's a funny saying, if it's scalable or not, or if it's a design style that's in like on trend. I'm like, oh, I already knew that trend. And I even like tell my husband sometimes, I'm like, that's the coquette trend. It's really in right now. It's where they have lots of bows. Like, it's just funny. Like, you know, I would have never known that before. I wouldn't have even thought anything of it. But yeah, you start to get like this t-shirt vision where you see all the trends now, and it's just like they pop out to you, and you get better and better as you go. And you're able to like combine trends at that point, and it's great.
Nerd out and geek out on this
Yeah, I know.
It's fun.
Nerds.
So for anyone that's new and that's watching and they're like, oh my gosh, how do I get started with this? They hear us talking about a print-on-demand company. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? What is the print-on-demand company that you use and how they made your life easier?
Yeah, I've always used Printify. I used Printful for a little bit because they had embroidery like a year ago. Printify is now getting embroidery, so I hardly ever use Printful. So I use Printify, and what I like about it is Printify has a bunch of different print providers. So if one print provider is out of stock with something, then you can easily switch it to another print provider that has the same item in stock. So it's a little bit easier to get things out. They've been great during even Q4 last year. They have a chat and everything. They're really helpful.
I will leave a link to Printify down below. Printify has got a ton of products. Like I think we were primarily shirts, but you could do mugs, you could do blankets, you can do tumblers, stickers. There's a ton of products. And then Printify isn't a print shop themselves. They are kind of like the Uber Eats of the print world, and they've kind of got all of these different print providers that they connect us sellers with. And so you go and you pick your product, and then you could pick up a printer like SwiftPod or Munster Digital, and you could fulfill through that print provider that is all under the Printify umbrella. It's super simple to use, and it makes it like such an accessible thing for us, not having to have printers at home and all of that. So a print provider like Printify they do all the work for you. I remember watching my first videos and going, what are they even talking about? How is that even possible? So it is so possible. It makes our life so much easier.
Oh yeah, 100%. In the beginning, I was so worried about customer service stuff. Like, oh, what if it gets lost in the mail? Or what if they have a stain on their shirt? Or what if the print comes out bad and they leave me a bad review? Like all of these what ifs. But Printify has been nothing but super helpful. If it's their fault in any way, they will always do a refund or replacement for you. So you're not out any money, and you're able to make that customer happy. So they're great to work with.
With anything, it's doubt and questions that will keep us from taking action, right? Like I remember my very first order, like, oh my gosh, well, what if it gets lost in the mail? And what? Normally it doesn't. It just gets there.
Yeah.
If there's a stain or whatever it is,
mm-hmm.
provider Printify will most likely refund it for you.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to tell the customer, hey there, I'm so sorry. I can reprint this for you, or I can refund it for you. And usually works out just fine. So definitely don't let, if anyone's listening, don't let a doubt or a fear ever stop you. Like, where would we be if we had let that stop us? Because we had all the same doubts and all the same fears that anyone that could possibly be listening to us right now could possibly have right now. We've had every single one of those doubts and every single one of those fears.
Oh yeah, I had so many doubts, so many fears, and I failed a bunch of times with things, and I learned my lesson. I lost money. I had difficulties with the number of things, but it's just not giving up that really counts. That's how I got to where I'm at, and that's how any other successful person got to where they are. So just keep that in the back of your mind.
I'm going to take this chance right now to ask everybody to go down into, right under the video, give Ariel a thumbs up. And if you enjoyed the style of video, we've got a couple of these on the channel that I know people have found really inspirational. Make sure you subscribe if you enjoyed this kind of content. And also, Ariel, I'm going to leave your link down below for your channel. And from the bottom of my heart, like, I was on the edge of my seat the first two videos that I watched. So I can't wait to go in and watch your third video. So if you guys enjoyed hearing from Ariel and enjoyed hearing her story, you put a lot of thought into your origin story over on your channel. You got to go give it a listen, because you'll be really, really, really motivated and really inspired after listening to that. Like, I felt like thumbs upping it like 20 times.
Aww. Thanks, Shauna. I'm glad. That is my main goal with my channel, is to just inspire people not to give up. So I think there's going to be more content like that. I actually had someone reach out to me and they said, I'm listening to a lot of YouTubers out there, and I've learned the steps that are needed. But she's like, this was just a good reminder of like the mindset side of things. So yeah, I think I just enjoy talking about that and just inspiring people and helping anyone any way I can, because I was there, and I mean I'm still going through it. Like everybody struggles with mindset as they go along. Even when you're at a point where you're making good money, like you're still going to have doubts. You're still going to have things that happen that are hard. So just keeping a good positive mindset, it's really important.
And I think you're really in touch with that because you've just kind of come out of that, right? Like over the last year you've scaled, but you're relatively like just kind of come out of that. So it's really fresh in your mind of all of the circles, the merry-go-rounds of doubts that you were going through as you were going through your journey. You're probably very in touch with that. So I think your content really reflects that, and something that a lot of people will find so much inspiration with and will really like connect with. Were there any, no pressure, any thoughts, any thoughts that you were thinking, oh, I want to leave people with this thought, or this bit of encouragement, or this thing that I wish that I had known in the beginning? I know we covered most of it, but anything that you are thinking of that you might want to leave people with?
Just work on your mindset. So whether that be following YouTubers just like Shauna, very inspirational, people who are being realistic with you, having realistic ideas of what it's going to be like is going to be the most important mindset thing, in my opinion. It just takes time, and watching YouTube videos and books too. I actually read quite a few books over the last few years. Atomic Habits was a really good one that I read. I know a lot of people like that book. It really helps you get into the right habits to be able to push yourself forward and keep that momentum going. Any books like that, and then just staying consistent with things like that is going to really help.
And maybe even, I know one of my strategies as I was moving along, I stayed away from Reddit groups because it tends to be very negative, and I would get away from anyone who was like bringing that negativity, like, that doubt. Was like, okay, well, you haven't actually done this, so why am I going to listen to you? I'm going to listen to someone who actually has been through the journey and made it happen, rather than someone who gave up too early, or, being around that negativity. That was something that was big for me, just steering clear of that negativity, I think.
That is so true. And I don't know what psychology principle this is, but I know that people tend to focus on the negative. That's just how our minds work, because we're trying to keep ourselves safe, right? So we tend to focus on like the negative things. And if something negative happens to us, that's going to trump like something positive that happened. And so that's usually what causes people to give up or just think it's not going to work or whatever. You have to fight that. It's a battle.
Yeah.
But trying to stay away from those negative thoughts and people who are negative, and watch people like Shauna, who is positive.
And Ariel.
Well, thanks. I hope so. Yeah, that's what's really going to help. Just, staying positive.
Yay, Ariel. I've had really a lot of fun doing this. I'm so glad you came on with me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This has been so fun. I hope that everybody feels inspired now, and go take action wherever you're at.
If we can do it, you can do it. We promise you that.
Yeah. If you're thinking of start right now.
Yes.
If you enjoyed this interview, you should watch Cindy's interview next, but not until after that tip from Tucker. Tucker, take it away.